You are listening to Realign Your Life podcast, where I discuss with you strategies on how to realign your life and move towards the direction you always want to. I am Vivian, the host of this podcast, and every week I will bring value on how to improve and realign your life either through a guest or my thoughts. I can't wait to share what we have this week. It's time to realign your life. Well, hello. Welcome back to Realign Your Life podcast. This is Vivian, the host of this show, and I am so excited and honored to have you to join in this episode today. I have a wonderful treat for you. Remember, part of realigning your life is all about self-care. And part of that self-care is taking care of our physical self. So I want to make sure that you and myself included are doing all that we need to do to be able to live a healthy lifestyle. And I've got a good treat for you today. So I have a very dear friend and a colleague and a star here today, Dr. Willie Mae Abel. Welcome, Dr. Abel.
Thank you.
Well, I am so excited to have you with us today, and I know those that are out there listening will benefit from everything that you have to share with us today. Now, I want to let you guys know this is going to be a two-parter because Dr. Abel has so much information, and I just feel like it's so important for us to be able to partake of her expertise. Now, let me tell you a little bit about her so that you know she's very, very credible. She is an associate professor at the School of Nursing at the University of North Carolina at Charlotte. Yay! We got a lot of stuff going on here in Charlotte, y'all. I'm telling you, y'all better come. She is an alumna of the university also, where she got her undergraduate, her bachelor's in nursing from the university, but she went on to do further studies at the University of North Carolina in Greensboro, getting her master's and also her doctorate's degree. See, I told you, she's got it going on. So she is part of many nursing organizations. And of course, for those of you that don't know a whole lot about nursing, Sigma Theta Tau is an international honor society for nurses. She's my soror in Chi Eta Phi Sorority Incorporated, and she's actually a member of the chapter in Salisbury, North Carolina. She is an author, and she's co-authored many publications. So one of them is that she has won some of her honors. In 2001, she was recognized as one of the great 100 registered nurses in North Carolina. So that is an outstanding achievement and recognition. In 2016, and this is where we are really going to see her expertise come out, because, and I didn't mention to you that Dr. Abel, her specialty in nursing is research. So she's a prolific researcher. And so in 2016, she was the recipient of the 2019 Southern Nursing Research Society Mid-Career Researcher Award and the 2021 D. Jean Wood Nursing Scholarship Award. So you see, she is packed with recognition and expertise. So with all of that done and said, I want to ask you, Dr. Abel, if you would, to share with our listening order, because our podcast is all about realigning our lives and being healthy. So how does high blood pressure or hypertension impact our overall health and well-being?
We have blood vessels that run throughout our body that supply blood from our head to our toes, including major organs like the heart, the kidney, the brain, the eyes. And high blood pressure constricts blood vessels, making the lumen smaller. And when this happens, it makes the heart work too hard. It loses its strength over time. And the force of blood through the vessels causes them to get weak and stiff. And if the blood pressure stays too high for too long, you have the heart, the kidney, the brain, the eyes, they don't get a good blood supply. And this results in poor health and can be life-threatening.
Wow. So that is, that's huge. So you're saying that our blood pressure can affect our whole lifestyle. So would you say that stress has a part of that?
Yes, definitely. Stress has a part of that. And when you think in terms of stress and blood pressure, it could be tremendous. Our bodies have what's called a fight or flight response. And when we're in that type of situation, our body builds up adrenaline. And this causes the blood pressure and the heart rate to increase. And when we don't have mechanisms to bring down the blood pressure, it can cause all types of problems. And not only stressors in our lives, but stressors from racism, discrimination, all of those things can impact that fight or flight response. And again, keeping the blood pressure up for prolonged periods of time because of stressors can have detrimental effects.
Wow. So you're saying that our lifestyles can really make an impact on our blood pressure.
Yes, absolutely.
That's what I'm hearing you say. So
when you think about stress, there are a lot of different ways that we can manage stress. Like, for instance, taking a walk, distraction, positive thinking, self-talk. It not only reduces the blood pressure, but it can also help a person sleep better, decreases the heart rate, muscle tension, also improves our mental health. Unfortunately, some people try to relax by eating more, using tobacco, drinking alcohol, and this only serves to increase the blood pressure.
Wow. So you've talked about some of the consequences of complications of untreated blood pressure. So what are some of those signs or symptoms that one may be experiencing hypertension or high blood pressure?
Well, hypertension is a silent killer. So a lot of times people don't even know they have high blood pressure. Generally, when a person has a headache, usually the blood pressure is extremely high. So think of hypertension as a silent killer. And technically, you don't know if the blood pressure is increased until you actually take the blood pressure and see the numbers.
Wow. So, okay. Now, speaking of numbers, if I am a fairly healthy person, is it necessary for me to take my blood pressure or have my blood pressure monitored? Speak about that for us.
Yes, it is. I think that you should have your blood pressure monitored to see what your baseline levels are and to know what your blood pressure is. And periodically take your blood pressure just to see if the numbers are staying consistent. That's very important, very important. And, there are blood pressure monitoring machines at places like Walmart and Walgreens. Just go and sit comfortably for a few minutes and stick your arm in there and see what it looks like and make a mental note of what that blood pressure is.
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned that because I was wondering, I see those machines, and I'm a CVS girl. So I see those machines there and I'm wondering, are those really accurate, or is that just give you kind of a baseline of where you are?
It can give you a baseline of where you are. If you actually have high blood pressure, I suggest purchasing an approved blood pressure monitor to monitor your blood pressure periodically to make sure that your treatments are working.
Okay. So you talked a little bit about some of the blood pressure, having hypertension and high blood pressure, and some of the dangers of that. So what are some of the treatments that you would recommend? I think you kind of mentioned lifestyle changes. So what are some other things that our listening audience can do to make sure that they are on top of this?
Well, there are some recommended lifestyle changes, such as eating a well-balanced diet that's low in sodium, also increasing physical activity, limiting alcohol, and maintaining a healthy weight. And if a person's overweight or obese, lose weight. In addition, quit smoking, manage stress. And if a person is diagnosed with hypertension, take blood pressure medications as prescribed. This is a lifestyle change because a lot of people aren't used to taking medications. So it's important to take the medications plus engage in the lifestyle changes that I mentioned.
So how do you say it's a lifestyle change? So can you give us maybe some recommendations as to how we can incorporate this into our daily lifestyles?
You mean like eating a well-balanced diet, low in sodium? For instance, reading labels, on food. Looking at the salt content is very, very important. Excessive, people who drink alcohol, but excessive alcohol intake is the problem. As far as weight is concerned, Black females probably have the highest percentage of overweight, obesity in the United States, to the tune of about 80% of Black women are either obese or overweight. So weight is a tremendous problem, and having an increased weight does have an impact on hypertension.
Wow.
And also Black women, adults, have a lower physical activity, and of course that contributes to weight increase.
Wow, that's very interesting, Dr. Abel. So, Dr. Abel, you've given us so much good information here about the background and the physiology of hypertension and how it can affect us. So, for those out there that may suspect that they have hypertension, or currently or taking medication for hypertension, are there any support groups or any other places that they can get information on how to begin to live those healthy lifestyles?
I do not know of any support groups specifically for hypertension. However, I do know of a couple of programs that do assist with chronic diseases, one of which is the Chronic Disease Self-Management Program. It's called Healthy Living also. And there is an organization in Charlotte and around the U.S. that help to support that organization. In addition, there's another program that's particularly geared to Black women called Primetime Sisters. It's at specific areas in the United States, but both of these programs can be offered virtually as well as in person. But these programs are designed to help people to learn to manage their chronic diseases such as hypertension and to live healthy lives. And it brings in things such as medication adherence, communicating with the physician, physical activity, how to eat well, how to maintain, how to deal with stressors, but all types of things of that nature.
Great. This is such good information. And listeners out there, I hope you all are taking this all to heart, because I heard, and you heard Dr. Abel mention the fact that hypertension is a silent killer. And will you tell our listening audience what you mean by that?
What it means is that the individual doesn't have any signs or symptoms, and the blood pressure can be extremely high, extremely high. And generally, when a person does experience signs and symptoms like a headache, the blood pressure is already at a very dangerous level, like stroke level. Or they may have a nosebleed or something like that. But generally, as the blood pressure is creeping up, there are no signs or symptoms. And that, in essence, is the silent killer associated with high blood pressure.
Wow. Well, Dr. Abel, I know that you'll be coming back with us again to do some other follow up with that, because this is such an important topic for all of us. And it doesn't matter who you are out there, because I know there are kids out there with hypertension also, right?
Yes, there are. And a lot of our children also suffering from overweight or obesity as well, which contribute lack of physical activity, poor diets. All of these things contribute to high blood pressure in children. I want to mention the role of epigenetics. This is something that is very important. Just because your parents have high blood pressure doesn't mean you're necessarily going to get high blood pressure. But our environment and our behaviors will trigger or turn on or off genes that will lead to high blood pressure. For instance, if you have a poor diet or you have a lack of physical activity, this can turn on a gene for high blood pressure.
Wow.
So again, maintaining healthy behaviors can help to decrease the incidence of high blood pressure.
Wow. Now, I know you guys out there did not know that. I didn't either. This is news to me. So you can turn on and off these genes in your body. So the
you
body
may have
is
a gene
listening.
that predisposes you to high blood pressure, but is silent until you have behaviors or environmental factors that trigger those genes to come on.
Wow. Thank you for that, because I'm telling you, I know that many of us did not know that or understand that. And it's kind of like that old saying, just because you come from that environment, the environment doesn't have to be in you.
Absolutely.
So just because we have a family history, you can stop that. That generational, as we say in our Christian world, that generational curse can be stopped. Yes. And it can begin in you. So yes. Dr. Abel, what is maybe one or two things that you would leave us with today? And if they want more information, how could our listening audience contact you?
I think I would leave people with taking an active part in lifestyle changes. It's very important. Paying attention to diet, engaging in physical activity, not drinking excessively, losing weight. That is the core part of high blood pressure. Not only high blood pressure, but also other chronic diseases like diabetes. You can prevent other diseases just by doing those 4 simple things. The other thing I'd like to mention is, if you're on high blood pressure medications, take the medications like the doctor prescribed them. That is very, very important. People don't realize that if you don't take the medications, or you come off of them, adjust the medications and do your own thing, that it can cause the blood pressure to shoot up to very high levels, stroke levels, and people end up in some very difficult situations because of that. Also, when people go to the doctor, they're very kind of silent. Let the doctor do all the talking, but they have to be involved in their health care. Talk with the doctor, tell them what's going on with you. Let them know about other medications you may be using, whether they're illegal drugs, whether they're herbs, supplements, over the counter. Everything needs to be taken into account, because blood pressure medications can interact with a lot of other things that people are doing.
Wow.
And you had mentioned something else you wanted me to say. I can't remember.
How, if for more information or if people want to ask you more, interact with you more, how would they contact you?
Well, I don't have any social media things out there. But if anyone wants to contact you, I'll be happy to give you my information and they can let you know.
Okay, great. Fabulous. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us today. And I know that many people out here that are listening to us today will benefit from this. So make sure that you are taking care of yourself. And as you realign your life, that your blood pressure is a very important and integral part of being able to do that self-care and realigning your life. So thank you so much for listening today. Thank you again, Dr. Abel, for being my special guest. And I look forward to seeing you in our next episode. So for all of you out there listening, take care and peace. I hope you enjoyed this episode. The best gift that you could give me is to share this podcast with family and friends. And don't forget to review it. That way, this podcast will grow organically. If you need to reach out to me, please check out my Facebook page, DM me there, or you can email me at godskow@gmail.com. We have upcoming Bible studies that we would love for you to join us in, or if there is a guest or someone that you would like to see me interview on this podcast, please let me know. We are here to work together to realign our lives. Until the next episode, take care, and I look forward to sharing more and more with you as we realign our lives. Peace until next week.